Hello, my name is Robert Ray. I'm the current president of the Gilbert Sullivan Society Victoria, and this year, 2020, we are celebrating our 85th anniversary year. But alas, in these troubled times, you can't come to us, so we thought we could come to you. We thought to let you have access to some of our most recent productions that are perhaps a little bit unusual and you may not have already seen. In 2010, we started to do musicals from the Edwardian period, and we started with the Arcadians, which was an enormous success at the Malvern Theatre. Music by Lionel Monckton and a new book by Mel Morrow. We took it to the International Festival in Buxton the following year, and we were told by the organisers that we were the hit of the festival. This encouraged us to go into further Edwardian musical comedies, and we then presented A Country Girl. This was from 1899, and it was Lionel Monckton's first success. Lionel Monckton was a composer very much in the same way that Sullivan. He had a wonderful gift for melody, and his shows were the hits of the Edwardian period. A Country Girl takes place in Devonshire. The English audiences at the time, of course, loved to see operas set in far-flung places like Persia and Japan, Italy even, but sometimes they also loved operas or musicals about their own country. And A Country Girl is one of those. In the Gilbert Sullivan set, there's really only the Sorcerer that really celebrates this bucolic part of England. When we revive these shows, the most difficult part is, of course, the dialogue, which can be very stilted, and oftentimes the songs have got nothing whatsoever to do with the plot. In A Country Girl, I managed to attain a very, very faded typewritten. It looked like it was with when they used carbon paper those days, and it was rather dodgy, to say the least, the dialogue. Some of it was very fresh and quite lovely, but it had a lot of plot threads that never really were tied up. You know, it was just really rather odd, and of course some of the songs, well, many of the songs had nothing to do with the dialogue. So I thought, well, let me try to fix this. So I rewrote the whole of all the dialogue, and even we left in the incongruous songs. You will see them. I mean, they're wonderful, like Mrs. Brown and wonderful little the chicken duet. We presented it at the Melbourne Theatre in 2012, and then again at Paramore, and again it was very successful. I was very lucky, as I always am, with a marvellous cast led by Susanna Gidley and Robert Latham, and also supporting them was marvellous performances like Andrew McGrail in a frock, no less, and there was also Vanessa Petrie as Nan, the country girl, and a wonderful supporting cast, and also Ian Lowe. I'm just thinking of them now, Nicole Free. It was a terrific show. If you can, I know these are troubled times for all of us, but we would love any small donation towards this series would help us to keep going. Of course, we have, like many people, we have no income this year until this terrible thing is settled. So any contribution would be very helpful. To do so, just go to our website, gsov.org.au, and you'll see if you go to the shop, there's a place for donations, and all donations are tax deductible. So we would be very grateful if you could help us out in that way. So enjoy the first act of it. We will be soon sending you the second act, and I think you will enjoy it very much. And also, with the non-Gilbert & Sullivans, we are allowed a little bit more freedom to maybe reinterpret them. At the Malvern Theatre, there's no place for an orchestra, and there's no fly tower, so it makes it almost impossible to present any of the full Gilbert & Sullivans there. But with this one, I decided, or had the idea, to not to camouflage the musical accompaniment to piano, but to actually feature it. So I had the idea of setting a country girl within a play, and it takes place in the conservatory of the impresario George Edwards, and he's having a dinner party to celebrate the success of A Country Girl, and in their way they all decide, the guests, that they're going to do the play. So this is how we get around the fact that it's actually taking place in a conservatory and not in a real scenery. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. It was a delight to do, and looking at it again after these years, it plays very well. So enjoy. Thank you.
My heartiest congratulations, my best composer with my most darling soubrette. But I'm afraid tonight is all about A Country Girl. I want to say thank you so much to Lillian.
Oh yes, she's just splendid. I've seen the show 3 times already.
Oh, I was there opening night and have been back 5 times.
Oh.
I feel just awful I haven't seen it yet. Perhaps, Mr. Edwards, you could persuade Miss Alday to sing something from it for me.
Oh, can I sing the choruses?
Perhaps we can all sing the chorus.
Oh, here's an idea. As you have all seen it so often, why don't we do the play for Mrs. Miller? I have several scores and librettos to prompt you.
Oh, gosh, I've always wanted to be in the theatre. My mother said it made me too bold.
We can even play dress-ups. I'll fetch my box of odds and sods.
Julia always regretted marrying me and giving up the stage. You know that Saphir Impatience was written for her by Gilbert Sullivan. I was their manager at the time.
Well, I got the part. The hardest part was keeping Sir William's wandering hands at bay.
Oh, but who will play whom? Gertie, you are perfect for now. Who? Oh, no, that's my song.
Please let me do Barry.
Can I be Sophie?
Perfect casting.
Can I play old Nursey? Oh, and then what about Lady Anchester night too?
Marvellous.
Can I have a
a go at playing Topsy Sid in the dance in Act 1?
Yes, yes.
And what about you, Mr. Edwards? I can just see you in a turban as the Rajah of Bob.
I'm better behind a desk than entering on an elephant.
Oh, George, you are always telling me how I should act. And you were perfect reading the lines with me.
Julia, how about you play the Princess Mehelana?
If there's a sari to fit me. Oh, I think there is.
That leaves me with Mrs. Quinton Rakes. I thought she was such a scream.
Gentlemen, will you join us?
Oh, could I play Geoffrey Challoner? I would love to have a go at the romantic lead.
Oh, I think that's a splendid idea.
Charles, you can play Douglas. Willie, what about Grandpa Mummery?
But it appears after Act 1. Can I then play Lord Anchester in Act 2?
Of course, yes.
What about me, old boy?
You can play the pompous Sir Joseph Verity.
Pompous? Not in me makeup, old boy.
Oh, Howard, I'm sure you can act it.
Now, let's set the scene. Devonshire today, that is, 1902. A brand new century.
I'm Geoffrey Challoner. My father, the old squire, lost all his money trying to open some old tin mines. I have gone to sea with my best friend Barry,
Yo-ho!
to earn my fortune and repay my father's debts. But I had to leave behind my childhood sweetheart, Marjorie Joy.
I'm hard pressed. But I also went to London to become a great star at Covent Garden.
Only Nan stayed behind in the village. She held a secret love for Geoffrey Challoner.
Secret love. That won't be hard. Geoffrey Challoner is so attractive.
Now I have taken over the manor house from the Challoners, and now I have a plan to get me son Douglas elected to Parliament.
Douglas, I don't give a fig for a place in Parliament. All I want is a place beside Nan.
But I have to win the favour of Mrs. Quinton Rakes, the leader of the Devonshire Society.
But of course, I'm Mrs. Quinton Rakes, and I'm from old money. So old, it has disappeared. Can't even pay my dress bills, don't you know?
Yes, and I'm Madame Sophie the dressmaker. But I have a plan. My dears, it all sounds so complicated.
Let's set the scene and sing the opening number. Lionel, if you would.
Sing well.
She will be right.
Nelly to you. With a follow, follow, ring, I go down. With a follow, follow, ring, I go down.
As the new squire of the manor, I'm very keen to get me son Douglas into Parliament. Talking of my son, where is he?
Here I am, sir.
And where have you been since lunch?
Oh, strolled into the village. Canvassing.
Canvassing? And I suppose your canvassing took you to the cottage of that little flirt Nan.
Well, she did have some advice. She told me I didn't stand a ghost of a chance of being elected.
What would she know? Mrs. Quinton Rakes thinks it's a walkover. But she'd be shocked to think that you associated yourself with that girl Nan. Douglas, I hope one day to make her your mother-in-law. I mean, your stepmother. Oh, bliss! And here she is!
Oh, that's me, I'm on. Oh dear, what page are we at?
My dear Mrs. Quinton Rakes, allow me to introduce my son.
Ah, our future Prime Minister. Tell me, are you well regarded by the electorate?
I'm not regarded at all. They all want Geoffrey Challoner.
But he's in the Navy, I believe. Anyway, you must sort of unbend a little and be nice to all the unwashed, until you're elected, that is. I have organised a costume parade where we'll all dress up just like the local villagers. Madame Sophie has made me such a divine frock in crepe de chine. I will feel so rustic in it. I shall start off by being charming to this rather common man. Dear fellow, what do you do?
Thank you, Mum. I be sprightly, still terribly fond of the lasses.
Dear me!
So if you're in for a bit of sweethearting...
Oh, dear me!
Go away, sir. You agitate the lady.
Of course I do. 'Tis me way to flutter 'em like that. I haven't lost any of me touch.
Dear lady, they have gone. And now that we're alone, may I ask if you've considered my little proposal?
Oh, sir, you mustn't. My dear husband Quinton, who was lost in the Himalayas 2 years ago, may still be alive, don't you know?
2 years? But you must take the legal steps to declare yourself a widow.
I would never give up the thought that he might come back to me.
Dear lady, I'm sure that will never ever happen.
One never knows. Do one. Oh, do hurry off, Sir Joseph. I'm expecting my dressmaker, Madame Sophie.
Dear lady.
Oh, I'm on. I hope I get the accent right.
Oh, never mind all of that. Come along and let's see if we can get to the next song.
But I need to tell you that unless you pay my account, I will have to demand something of you.
Demand?
That you take me in as a guest in your great house and introduce me into society. I was born here in this village, and I used to look up at the manor and dream of being a real lady. Now, thanks to your kind invitation.
My invitation?
Or I take me frocks back with me.
Well, if you put it that way. Oh dear, what's all that fuss?
I can't see, there's such a crowd. Oh, Mr. Chandler and Mary, come back and see.
Oh, what grandpa! Younger than ever, hey? Oh, and Polly, and little Janet too, quite a woman.
Oh, it is so grand to be home again in Devonshire, where my heart has never strayed from.
How are you all? But I don't see much.
Home, sweet! Home! There's a flavour about Devonshire lips that beats the world for sweetness. I went to sea as a bold A.B., and I thought when I got on board, an admiral's berth will do for me as a Charlie Bearer's Ford. I'd heard a lot of
a sailor's life, and it seemed a rare good sort. For he cut up his squid with a big sheath knife, and would go ashore with a different wife. When he came to a foreign port,
when he came to a foreign port,
yo ho, little girls, yo ho, that's so, little girls, that's so. For it sounds all right in a sailor's song, but you find out soon that it all goes wrong. Here ahead, me hearties, and if you want to know, I'll spin your yarn ahead the stand. Yo ho, little girls, yo ho,
yo ho, little girls, yo ho, that's so, little girls, that's so. For it sounds all right in a sailor's song, but you find out soon that it all goes wrong. Here ahead, me hearties, and if you want to know, you'll spin us the yarn ahead the stand. Yo ho, little girls, yo ho.
Grand and the foaming waves sublime, but it's very much like our earth on land with an earthquake all the time. You sleep at night in your blankets warm and your sheets so snug and fair, but the sailor is out in the awful storm, getting sheets of water across his form, which are washed down the cabin stair,
which are washed down the cabin stair.
Yo ho, little girls, yo ho, that's so, little girls, that's so. You may make your home on the rolling deep, but it rolls so much that you get no sleep. Tumble up here, lovers, the bosun calls below. You turn out of bed and land on your hip. Yo ho, little girls, yo ho,
yo ho, little girls, yo ho, that's so, little girls, that's so. You may make your home on the rolling deep, but it rolls so much that you get no sleep. Tumble up here, lovers, the bosun calls below. You turn out of bed and land on your head. Yo ho, little girls, yo ho.
It's not all dancing and grog today in the life of a British tar. He may be 1,000 miles away from the nearest harbour bar. It's cruel hard when he takes his meals, for the plates begin to slide, and there comes up a gust and the vessel heels, and you hear remarks when the sailor feels that his soup has all gone outside.
That his soup has all gone outside.
Yo ho, little girls, yo ho, that's so, little girls, that's so. You may choose the life of the ocean wave, but you cut your chin when you try to shave. Home again, me hearties, the stormy winds may blow, but let them all roll for us near shore. Yo ho, little girls, yo ho,
yo ho, little girls, yo ho, that's so, little girls, that's so. You may choose the life of the ocean wave, but you cut your chin when you try to shave. Home again, me hearties, the stormy winds may blow, but let them all roll for us near shore. Yo ho, little girls, yo ho.
You and Master Geoffrey won't go to sea anymore.
Not go to sea? What would become of the British Navy?
We want to send Master Challoner into Parliament instead.
Parliament? So that's it. Why, it's the one ambition of his life to represent his people in Parliament. But he won't give up the sea. No, no. It's my opinion that the sea was put all round England because an Englishman likes to keep it handy. Let's all go down to the Red Cow and share an ale or two.
I then enter with a shooting party of tops. Gentlemen, would you oblige? It's my first encounter with the delightful Nan. Gertie, you all set?
Good day, sir. Good sport, I hope. You see, when all you fine London folk are about, I get a little bit dazed.
Nan, have you heard? Master Challoner has returned.
Oh, really? How wonderful.
You used to flirt with him before he went away.
Rot. He's always been head over heels in love with Marjorie, but she's gone, and no one knows where, not even me.
What are you doing this evening, Nan?
Nothing in particular. Bean counting, maybe. To see how many make 5, of course.
I say, will you join me at the end of the lane tonight?
Oh, to go, sweethearting. Only I can't marry until Christmas because of the cider pressing. Grandfather and mother will come live with us. He will smoke his pipe all day, talk about the war, and she will wear her Sunday glad rags every day, won't her? She, I mean.
Well, I just realised that I've a prior engagement this evening.
I think I know the game you sportsmen are after, but you'll find the birds very wild in this part of the country. You would try again, Johnny. Johnny came from London town for a bit of fun, in a little suit of brown with a little gun, and he went to try his odds on the girls on rural boards. We hit them and break their hearts. That is how it's done. Try it on, Johnny, try it on too. There it made a right spot for you. That is in London, set as a wall, and they know how it's fetching as a Devonshire girl.
Try it on, Johnny, try it on too. Fair village maids are the right sort for you. Lasses in London, set out the world, but they're not half so fetching as a Devonshire girl.
Johnny caught a Sarah Jane, very fine and fond, followed her along the lane and a bit beyond. Then he tried to take her kiss, but she dodged and made him miss. Then he tumbled just like this, right into the pond. Try again, Johnny, try again too. There may seem a bit cold to you. This is in the pond, you set a wall, and the Devonshire girl.
Try again, Johnny, try again too. Fair village maids seem a bit cold to you. Lasses in London, you set a world, but you can't get the better of a Devonshire girl.
Johnny gave a village girl with a winning smile such a brooch of gold and pearl in the latest style. Thank you, sir, said Polly on. You're so kind that now I can marry Robert, my young man, in a little while. Try it on, Johnny, try again too. The village maids are to knowing for you. Go back to London in fashion's while, for you're not quite the lover for a Devonshire girl.
Try again, Johnny, try again too. Fair village maids are to nothing for you. Go back to London in fashion's world, for you're not quite the lover for a Devonshire girl.
Oh, man, you madcap. The men about as usual.
Yes, it's a terrible season for flies.
Careful you don't get bitten.
Not them. They're all buzz and no bite. Oh, tip and no iceberg. Have you heard from Marjorie lately?
Aye, she never forgets her old nurse. She has a hoity-toity position in London, but I can't tell you what.
Oh. Have you heard that Master Geoffrey has returned from the sea?
Master Geoffrey, another one you'd be setting your cap at.
Me? No. It's too sweet on Marjorie. If you be writing to her, do tell her what I've just told you.
You'll be a good girlie, Nan. But remember my advice about flirting. The whole village has been talking about you and the squire's son.
Douglas Verity? Oh, who cares? He's nothing to me but another fly. Buzz, buzz. Try again, Johnny. Try again, do.
Here's where I enter. Thank heavens I don't have to climb over that stile here tonight. I got my dress on it one night and nearly showed the world all my secrets. I greet my own nurse. Nursey!
Marjorie!
Oh, you're glad to see me?
Indeed I am. You're quite the lady now.
Does anyone suspect that the famous opera singer Marjorie Montague is really me?
Mercy, no.
Oh, I'm so glad they don't know here. I wanted to come back and be the Marjorie everyone remembers. You have kept my old blue dress and white bonnet, haven't you?
Aye, they've been packed away with lavender flowers. Have you heard Master Geoffrey's back?
Yes, that's why I've returned. I promised him he would find me just the same when he came back. Nothing would have changed me.
So he doesn't know you're a great opera singer at Covent Garden?
No, and he mustn't know until I tell him when the moment is right.
Yes, I understand. I'll go and get your clothes. Oh, my dear girl. It's so good to have you home again.
And it's so good to be home. Oh, Geoffrey, it seems like yesterday when we were children together.
Marjorie!
Why, Geoffrey, welcome home.
Oh, to hear your voice saying that, Marjorie, it's worth 5 years of waiting and longing to be back again. Oh, my father ruined himself over that failed tin mine. That is why I had to go to sea to seek my fortune and pay off his debts for 5 years.
5 Yes, 5 long years.
It is so great to come back and find you as you always were. Oh, I mean, Marjorie, you're not...
Oh, no, Geoffrey, I'm quite the same.
Do you remember when we were boy and girl together? How I proposed to you in the orchard when you were wearing that charming blue dress and that same little white bonnet?
Not forgotten.
In the lonely ship's watch, I used to think I could hear you singing Coo, our signal. Do you remember?
Geoffrey, I will never forget. When we were children going through meadows often mowing,
We used to play among the hay, big armfuls fiercely throwing.
but soon our war was ended, and on the hay extended.
In peace we'd make a feast of cake. That cake was simply splendid. Little girl,
Little boy,
we would have such fun in the summer sun. Nobody stupid to check her joy.
one little
One little girl,
little
one little boy, one girl and boy.
When all the woods were ringing with birds of springtime singing,
We fetch a board and length of cord and gaily go a-swinging.
then to and fro unsteady, our swing would twist and eddy.
And if it broke, 'twas but a joke.
The grass was always ready.
Little girl,
Little boy,
we would swing so high that we seemed to fly. Life was a game and the world a toy.
one little
One little girl, one little boy, one girl and boy.
How all the lanes remind me of happy days behind me.
Our dearest freak was hide and seek.
I hid and you would find me.
I heard you faintly calling, and then a silence falling.
You passed me by beneath your eye with the light was quite appalling.
Little girl,
Little boy,
but you don't forget how we always met.
we was a distant
or cold or coy.
one little
One little girl,
little
one little boy, one girl and boy.
Sir, have you heard that the village wants to elect you as their representative in Parliament?
What? Give up the sea? Never.
That's what I told them, sir, but they really need you. Oh, do please think again. You'll have to be our member. And the Rajah and Princess will help you.
What, the English Rajah and the Indian princess that we gave passage to?
Yes, sir. Surely you haven't forgotten that you invited them to come and stay with us, sir.
No, I did no such thing.
Well, not exactly, but I did invite them on your behalf. Ah, the princess, bless her brown little heart, I mean face, fairly jumped at the chance. I'd say she had a liking for thee, sir.
Have you forgotten I no longer have the manor? Where would I put them?
Leave that to me, sir. I will square it all up with the squire, Sir Joseph Verity. Once the villagers see the high company you keep, they are bound to elect you.
Oh, but I tell you, man, I don't want to be elected. Besides, I have no money to run for Parliament.
Don't let a little thing like that worry you. The princess has tons. I'll make sure some comes your way. I'll talk to Sir Joseph Verity, the electors, and I'll arrange everything. But look, sir, here they come. Psst, Mr. Edwards,
Mrs. Julia, now it's your turn. Oh, I can't wait for this.
Roger of Bong.
flattering reception. And now that your Highness has seen England, let's go.
But we have only just arrived. Besides, I want to see London.
I don't think you'll like London, Princess. Very expensive, and you can't get into any of the top shows. The population hates tourists.
Nevertheless, I intend on staying.
We'd be happier in Bong.
Nonsense. When my people proposed I marry you, it was on the condition that you brought me to England. Sunny, glorious, happy England.
Blimey, what guidebook were they reading?
Your Highness!
Who is this polite pink person?
Sir Joseph Verity, who's taken over my master's manor.
Welcome, Your Highness.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you, Sir Joseph.
Ah, Barry, my beautiful English sailor. I just adore sailors. Hello, sailor. Is it true that an Englishman can only have one wife?
Well, at a time, Princess.
And can a woman marry any man she pleases?
Yes, Princess, but she may not be pleased with any man she marries.
But Barry, where is your handsome master? I need to see him again and decide if I like him more than you, Raja.
Impossible!
Sir, take me to your palace. I must take a milk bath and look my best when I see Master Geoffrey again.
Here I will address the electors on behalf of my old friend's son, Douglas Reverity. Although I don't think the lad is up to it.
Oops, my old friend, Lord Anchester. I'd better leave before he sees me.
It's the Raj I just heard about. Sir, and it can't be possible. You look just like my old friend, Quinton Rakes.
Oh, Anchester, you old fool. I am Quinton Rakes.
Dear fellow, we'd given you up for dead 2 years ago when you went missing in the Himalayas.
Well, I did wander off, but I found paradise. The locals thought me an oracle or something and made me a Raja. Didn't have the heart to undeceive them and come back home. I suppose my wife thinks she's a widow now, and I'll bet she's a merry old one.
Well, of course she was disappointed at first, especially when she learned that you had let your life insurance lapse.
Oh.
Quite devastated she was.
Oh, I mustn't let her see me like this. I must hurry off and join the princess.
I'm giving an art ball this Saturday. It'll all be in masks. Bring the princess. No one will recognize you.
Just as long as my wife Arabella doesn't sniff me out. She's got a nose like a bloodhound, you know, and a bark to match.
I must see Marjorie again. Oh, Nan!
So it really is you. I'm so glad to see you.
Oh, me too. And surely you were married by this. Who better could the boys want?
I've been waiting for you, Master Geoffrey.
For me, Nan. But you know I'm in love with Marjorie.
Well, I was just standing by in case you two had another falling out. You know, when you two had a silly squabble, I always brought her back to you.
Oh, that you did, Nan.
Now tell me, what's all this talk about a Raja and a princess? Barry is telling everyone that you are going to enter Parliament with the help of the princess who you are planning to marry.
I'll break his neck.
Then it isn't true.
No, of course not. Marjorie's the only one for me.
Well then, why don't you marry her?
I don't know how she feels about me. I asked her once and she refused.
But then you ran away to sea. Ask her again. I know she loves you.
Oh, Nan, if that were only true.
It is. Oh, come and thank me with a big hug and a kiss.
Oh, Marjorie, let me explain.
There is nothing to explain, Mr. Challoner.
Don't see anything to laugh at.
You don't? Wow, you fine folks have funny ways about love. You should see the lads in our village. It's a hug and a kiss and off to the parson we go.
kiss. Suppose I'll say the parson next.
No, thank you. I don't want a man who's head over heels in love with another.
Well then, Nan, let me be your sweetheart.
You!
Don't laugh at me, Nan, I'm serious. Don't you care for me a little? Oh, spurn not the nobly born.
Oh, you do have some lordy-dordy ways, but you're not such a bad sort.
You'll marry me then.
Marry you? Everyone would say I wasn't born high enough for you, and they would all turn up their noses led by that Mrs. Quinton Rakes.
But when you all dressed up, you're the prettiest girl in England. Oh, do say yes, Nan.
No, I won't put my foot in it like poor Molly.
Oh, Molly? Who's Molly?
Molly Gurney from Little Whitcomb, who married a great lord from London.
Did she?
Yes, she did. Now, Molly was tall and fair to see, her manners were frank, her language free. She met with a noble lord when he was fishing in neighbours' water. Although he was quite an awful swell in violent love, but once he fell, his relatives didn't take it well, and sneered at the farmer's daughter. But Molly married the Marquis, what a thing to do! She smuggled him down to the county town, then hurried the service through. The Sun, the Star, and the Echo, and all of the evening news came out with a heading, the wonderful wedding of Molly the Marchioness.
So Molly married the Marquis, what a thing to do! She smuggled him down to the county town and hurried the service through. The Sun, the Star, and the Echo, and all of the evening press came out with a heading, the wonderful wedding of Molly the Marchioness.
Now Molly went out to dine one night, resolved that she would be most polite, but some of her ways were hardly quite in the style that her husband taught her. When asked if she'd take liqueur or not, some Benedictine or chartreuse hot, she answered, "Oh, thanks, I'll take the lot with some of that bubbly water." So Molly dined with the Marquis, what a thing to do! She found it so nice that she asked for twice the whole of the dinner through. She took champagne in a tumbler and thought it a great success. With smoke growing wider, it's jolly good cider, said Molly the Marchioness.
So Molly dined with the Marquis, what a thing to do! She found it so nice that she asked for twice the whole of the dinner through. She took champagne in a tumbler and thought it a great success. With smothering wine, it's jolly good cider, said Molly the Marchioness.
Now Molly desired to go to court and ordered the dress she meant to sport. The neck and the sleeves were rather short, the train was a 20-yarder. She drove to the palace feeling proud, she elbowed her way all through the crowd. She got to the throne and duly bowed, but getting away was harder. So Molly made for the Marquis, what a thing to do! She tripped on a train, got up again, and head over heels she flew. The men who hurried to help her got mixed in a flowing dress. Oh, do tell a peek out and let's get my feet on to the Marchioness.
So Molly made for the Marquis, what a thing to do! She tripped on a train and got up again, and head over heels she flew. The men who hurried to help her got mixed with a flowing dress. Oh, do tear a feet out and let's get my feet out, said Molly the Marchioness. Come and see them, only see. Never did anyone look so funny, like a circus as can be. Only it's amateur, not for money.
All the London men and maids,
Putting themselves into fancy dresses.
some with pails and some with spades.
Dairymaids, reapers, and shepherdesses. Look there, see here. Look there, see here. Never has been such a thing seen. Not come informs us here's a smock frock. We don't know what to do with it, but still we're going through with it. Although the prospect's gloomier than anything we'll get yet. Never has been such a thing seen, not since Michaelmas 50 years.
Here from Burlington, Albany Street, company to work at the crook and the churn. All the enjoyment of the employment we are exceedingly anxious to learn. How do you handle a fork when you're haying? How do you manage when milking a cow? Isn't it charming going a farming when you have somebody telling you how?
Telling you how, telling you how. If you have somebody telling you how. As voluntary men we truly are, and calls and make peculiar. In water time us trulier, informs us there's a smock frock. We don't know what to do with it, but still we're going through with it. Although the prospect's gloomier than anything we've met yet. Never has been such a thing seen, such a thing seen.
Will help my son's chances in the elections?
We must look like one of them in order to gain their trust and then their vote, don't you know?
But what would the princess think if she could see us like this?
Oh, she would be delighted with all this colour and movement. They're really such simple folk, don't you know? But where's the Rajah? I haven't seen him yet. Dying to do so.
Well, after polishing off 2 bottles of me precious Pommery 83, he's passed out. Fallen asleep in the summer house.
That sounds like something my poor Quinton would have done. Oh, well, let's get to it. On with the haymaking, on with the milking. Will someone kindly direct me to a cow and tell me which end I sit at? Oh, God.
Oh, it's quite clear my son doesn't have a chance at the elections.
Not a dog's chance. Woof! Well, anyway, that's what he is saying himself.
Oh, gadzooks!
Perhaps I can help you.
Yes, but how?
Well, the young Governor Challoner owns a tin mine. Buy the mine, employ all the electors and tell them the hours will be short, the wages long, you know, just like the Labour Party says. And your son's election will be a certainty, just like theirs.
But will Mr. Challoner sell the mine?
He would do anything to oblige you, sir.
How much would he want?
He would want 15.
Ah, 5's me price.
Sold! Now, suppose you forward me, say, £2,000 on account. Oh. Have you got your checkbook on you?
I'm terribly embarrassed. I only carry cash.
I suppose that will have to do.
I think this is a splendid idea. Reopening this tin mine will make me and my son the village's heroes. He's bound to be elected, as money always talks.
Sometimes it sings. La 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 la. Sophie!
Barry, you've come back.
My little Sophie, are you glad to see me back?
Yes, and your front. But, Barry, I'm afraid our lives have now drifted apart. I am now a lady, living with Mrs. Quinton Rakes, and you a common sailor.
So was Nelson. Lady Nelson didn't seem to mind.
I must go and change me frock for supper.
By gad, I must change my cufflinks for tea. Can I sit next to you at supper?
My dear Barry, You forget I'll be dining at the hall.
The servants' hall?
The dining hall.
Listen, I think that was just the mockingbird.
Mockingbird? It was a bantam.
How paltry of you. What's come over you, Soph? You wouldn't have dared speak to me like this when we were just two little chicks together. Two little chicks lived in a farmyard, happy as chicks can be.
She was a dorking, proudly stalking, only a bantam he.
He was a most superior bantam, and he adored her too.
But she was proud and cried as a loud, now what in the world are you?
Chick, 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 won't you marry me, chick? Be my little wife, said he. Chick, 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 chick.
You're a very free chick, wait a little bit, said she.
Give me one kiss, said the little pea chick, what is more, he kissed her too.
Let me be chick, said the she chick, cock-a-doodle-doodle-doodle-doo. Both little chicks went up to London, off to the Smithfield show. She rather gaily boasted daily, I'll get a prize, you know. To her amazement, bold little bantam, he carried off first prize.
What carries weight, I beg to state, is plenty of blood, not size. Chick, 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 won't you marry me, chick? Be my little wife, said he. Chick, 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 chick.
You're a very free chick, wait a little bit, said she.
Give me one kiss, said the little pea chick, what is more, he kissed her too.
Let me be chick, said the she chick, cock-a-doodle-doodle-doodle-doo.
Both little chicks came back from London, back to their home once more. He cock-a-hoopy, she rather croupy, felt very sick and sore. But little Bantam was so forgiving,
Off in his car again. Then to the church they took their curtain, off to the South by train.
chick, 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 won't you marry me, chick? Be my little wife, said he. Chick, 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 chick.
You're a very free chick, wait a little bit, said she.
Give me one kiss, said the little pea chick, what is more, he kissed her too.
Let me be chick, said the she chick, cock-a-doodle-doodle-doodle-doo.
Well, I think I have patched things up with Marjorie. How a woman's love can change the world. Oh, darn, here comes the princess, just who I don't need at the moment.
Ah, Mr. Challoner, your former home, the manor, is quite charming, as is Sir Joseph Verity, who is very attentive. What can it mean?
English hospitality, I should guess.
But I do not want old Sir Joseph. I want you.
Princess, there must be some mistake.
Only you show me true English hospitality. The Rajah was foolish enough to agree to bring me here.
Indeed, Princess.
In England, I am told, a woman may marry any man she chooses. May she not?
Oh, well, at any rate, she need not marry a man she doesn't choose.
Then I choose you. And when you come home to my country, we shall be happy together under the deodar.
for you, sir.
Who?
The electors, sir.
The electors? Waiting for me? What for?
The speech you promised to make, sir.
Ah.
But before you go, will you kindly glance over this, sir, and I'll bank it.
What's this? £2,000?
From Sir Joseph. Only on account.
On account of what?
The tin mine you sold him.
I sold him?
Well, you didn't exactly sell it, sir. I did.
Oh, why, it's worthless.
That's just what I told him, sir. But he wouldn't listen to me. He said it would look so well with the electors.
£2,000?
And 3 more to follow.
2,000, 4,000, 5,000? Barry, you're a scoundrel.
But, Master Geoffrey, this is your day of chances, and you must take them. And what is more, sir, Lord Anchester has taken a great fancy to you and is going to introduce you to all the bigwigs who are all his friends at the coming arts ball of his. Why, there is no saying what you will be in the finish. Is there anyone but you, Master Geoffrey Challoner, Squire Challoner's son, to stand in the old squire's place?
You're right, Barry. £2,000, I can pay your father's debts and not have to return to sea. Oh, I'll win Marjorie yet.
I ought to be Prime Minister.
Why, Barry, welcome home.
Why, thank you, Miss Marjorie.
Are you quite well?
Quite well, and you, miss? Not married yet?
Oh, no, not yet, Barry.
Likely to be?
Perhaps.
Have you seen Master Geoffrey?
Oh, yes.
He's in Luck's Way, isn't he?
Is he?
She's tons of money. Jewels, elephants.
She? Who?
The princess.
Princess?
Yes, they came over to England on the same ship. Ah, these long voyages have a lot to answer for. All that pitching and rolling.
You must be mistaken, Barry.
Mistaken, he? Oh, not me, miss. Oh, what's the matter? Are you ill?
Oh, no, nothing, Barry. How could he, after what he said?
Now, what on earth could I have said to upset that little lady?
You told me, scoundrel, that if I bought that mine, my son would be elected. But hang it all, here they come, and confound it, they're cheering Challoner. Where's that boy of mine?
I know you'll do your part for me, and if I go to Parliament, I'll try to serve you there. So now I'll pass my love and ask if she has yet a heart for me, for I have fame and fortune and a home for her to share. That I could render such an answer that is due, but alas, my public duty calls me from the side of beauty. Do not think me rude, untender, if I have to part from you.
We can clearly tell that she loves him well. Is it really true that he loves her too?
What does she mean by coming between a dear little lass and her lover? Tell her to pack and
Tea. It gives you that lift that you wouldn't need if you didn't drink tea.
Let's all go back into the house for a short break.
Can't wait for Act 2.
Or that glass of sherry.